Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Public Access TV. My name is Doug Goodman, and you're going to be watching in the next half hour Tiger TV. This is one of those shows that is pre-recorded here at the Marshall Middle School in the Professional Development Room, and then you get a chance to watch it over the next couple of weeks and get up-to-date stuff on what's happening with our Marshall Public Schools. Now, this show, as I said, is pre-recorded, but it will be shown on Charter Channel 180, Tiger TV 181, VAST, which is Tiger TV 95, and then VAST 17 is also where you'll see Public Access TV. So I'm not sure, Alex is behind the camera I don't know if I said that all right, but anyway, continue to watch Public Access TV. These shows are viewed and are taped throughout each school year, and once a month, or at least twice a month sometimes, we bring you up to date. And Marshall Public Schools got so many things going on. This is our attempt to give you some of that inside information. Now with me, once again, my very special guest, Superintendent of Marshall Public Schools, Mr. Scott Munson. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, thanks, Doug. I appreciate being here.
Well, as we said before, these shows are pre-recorded, and we do have a special couple of guests that are going to be coming on. I believe Fadumo Ismail, and also Monica Timmerman. Make sure I get those names pronounced right. But they are actually our Marshall Public School Board student reps. Is that right?
That is correct. They have been student board representatives since the beginning of the school year and have done a great job. And so we're going to talk with them a little bit about what it means to be a student school board member and what they've learned, what they enjoy about it, and hopefully they'll be able to share some of their own personal experiences, and very much looking forward to that.
Well, is this relatively new to bring on student body members, or?
I think, Doug, that we've had them in Marshall now for, this might be the second consecutive year. There may have been previously some student school board members, but we had two very good ones last year, and Monica and Fadumo have stepped right into that role and have done a great job, and we're able to attend the Minnesota School Boards Association conference with some of our school board members and I, and actually presented or served on a panel. I think there were about 30 or 35 school board members from across Minnesota who attended that. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but they've both done a nice job, and it's been a pleasure getting to know them and hearing their perspective on a variety of things as well.
Well, I know they're very excited about being on Community Access TV. And of course, if you also want to see this entire show, you can go to marshallstudio1tv.com and check out this entire show. Check out all the school board meetings, city council meetings, all of that good stuff that's happening in our community, whether it be a various concert in one of our schools or a special event. I even think the Over 35 Master Basketball League is on there. So we thought maybe putting them on TV would curtail the yelling at the refs. I don't know if it made a difference or not, but yeah. I have yet to watch it, but I probably got to tune into that.
You might have to take a look at that and preview it before it goes on air, but there's a lot of good stuff on there, no doubt.
All right, sounds great. Well, I think what we'll do right now is we're going to take a real quick short break, and we're going to bring those special guests back on. I'll leave, and Scott, you'll have a chance to visit with those and find out all that great information.
That sounds great.
Anything else you want to add?
You know, just a couple things, Doug. We've had some weather cancellations and some school closings this year, so just to update everybody, we're trying to make sure we get the word out about, that because of the two recent snow closed days or snow closure days, we will have school for students and staff on Thursday, March 24th, and also on Monday, April 18th. Those were two designated snow days, so we want to make sure that everybody knows we have school on those days. We hope that we don't have any more days where we need to close school between now and the end of the school year, but it's still relatively early in February, and we have February and March, and even at times in April we can have bad snowstorms or whatever. So if we were to have any more snowstorms, we would need to add those days on to the end of the school year, which for us would be May 20th, I believe, and possibly into the next week or whatever. So just a little something to help families be prepared that we do have school on Thursday, March 24th for students and staff, also on Monday, April 18th, and if necessary, we'll add some days on in May, but let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that doesn't happen, because we understand how that affects families. But it's a couple of years ago, actually, the state of Minnesota implemented a minimum requirement for the number of instructional hours that we have in school districts at each level, and we're a little bit concerned that if we don't make days up, we won't meet that minimum number of instructional hours. So just want to let everybody know what's going on with our calendar for this year. We're working on next year's calendar. Ironically, our calendar committee that will be looking at next year's calendar was scheduled to meet on a day that we didn't have school because of the weather. So we're hoping to get that wrapped up here very, very soon and bring a recommendation forward to the school board. And certainly then, once that's approved, we'll get that out to folks. So some things going on with the calendar. Obviously, there are a lot of things going on with our building bond referendum. And you know, tonight actually at the school board meeting, we'll have the school board take some action on a formal resolution that's kind of the springboard into our informational campaign. And a lot of work taking place behind the scenes, and that's probably something that we should try to do a segment on in the near future and make sure we get word out to folks about here's the need, and here's what the plan looks like, and the timeline, and the tax impact, and here's where you can go for more information, and all those things. But I think we can probably fill up a whole segment with that type of discussion. So you know, that would be nice if we'd be able to do that in the future.
I think that's a great idea, and of course Alex is nodding his head behind the cameras and saying, yeah, let's do it however we can get the word out, because people will have questions about the referendum and all of the things that are happening. And I do have to just jump back a little bit. You mentioned that the school's looking at the calendar now. We've been kind of thinking that this is going to be the longest summer vacation, which the kids get out, I don't know, May 17th, 18th, somewhere in there. And then the plan was to begin the Tuesday after Labor Day. Is that for sure yet, or could they still begin a little before, or is that, what are you thinking there?
Well, if you're a junior this year, you will get out of school pending any inclement weather that happens. You'll get out of school at noon on the 19th of May. And state law right now says that unless school districts are, you know, going to start with an early permission, like what we've had for the last 6 years, this year plus 5, to start 2 weeks prior to Labor Day, unless you have that permission, you have to start school the Tuesday after Labor Day. So I think we've talked about how last year we went through the whole, are we going to stay in the fly or not? And we decided, based on input from parents and staff and students and community members, that this is our last year in the flexible learning year calendar. So next year, school theoretically would start the Tuesday after Labor Day. We're also getting input, though, from our parents and our staff about, in the event that the legislature would allow us to start school the Tuesday before Labor Day, like they did for this year, for districts that weren't in the Flexible Learning Year Consortium, they were able to have school Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, still give families the long weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and come back to school Tuesday. So we're getting input from our stakeholders in terms of, is that something that they'd be interested in, and we're going to take a look at that. And if there's a pretty significant portion of our families and our staff that think that would be a good idea, then we're going to incorporate that into our calendar, and our calendar committee will review it and ultimately make a recommendation to the school board. So I would speculate that we'll start school the Tuesday after Labor Day in 2016, in the fall of 2016. But we're still, like I said, gathering that input and want to make sure that we do what the majority of our families and staff and students want us to do.
Sounds good, and I'm sure you'll keep us updated. And as we move forward, I know at Community Services, where I happen to work, we're talking long summer. We're talking expanding the aquatic season. We may not close the pool till August 26th or 27th. Again, that's hit or miss depending upon the weather at the end of August, but this is a super summer.
It is, yep. Like I started to talk about, if you're a junior this year going into your senior year, you're going to get out of school probably as early as almost anybody in the state of Minnesota, and you're not going to go back to school until after Labor Day. So really it's probably an extra 2 or 3 weeks of summer vacation that our students and our families haven't been used to in the past.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Well, everyone out there watching, stay tuned, because I'm sure that information will be out very soon, along with some of the important issues, again, that are happening at the school board level. So with that being said, I think I'm going to step back, let Scott and his special guest, Fadumo, and I'm looking for Monica. I haven't seen Monica yet,
no,
but maybe
Fadumo might be the only one today.
He might be the only one, so I'm sure she's going to be excited about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, again, my name is Doug Goodman. Thank you for watching this first part of Tiger TV, Tiger Talk, and continue to stay watching community services or public access TV through your Studio One programming. And again, it's MarshallStudio1TV.com is where you want to go and check out everything.
Hi there, I'm Scott Munson, Superintendent for the Marshall Public Schools, and glad to welcome one of our 2 student school board members. She's flying solo with me right now to do this interview, and I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. I'll have her introduce herself in a moment, but this is Fadumo Ismail, who's been a student school board member since, was it August or September was your first meeting? Do you remember?
July with Malak and Sarah, but...
There you go. Yeah, because you kind of, you
Yep.
came and watched their last meeting, so you could see what they were doing or whatever, and glad to have her on our school board this year as one of our 2 student school board representatives. We also have Monica Timmerman, and if Monica shows up here in a little while, we'll try to slide her into the interview as well, but why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about what you're involved in and what year you are in school and everything, and then we'll come on into our questions.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Fadumo Ismail. I'm a senior at the Marshall Senior High School, and I'm involved in Link Crew, Yellow Ribbon, Cultures United, Honor Society, and happily to be on the school board as a student representative. I plan on going to SMSU and becoming a physician assistant, hopefully in the future, and glad to be here today.
And I know you are glad to be here. So, and I do appreciate you doing this interview just with me, and we'll get even with Monica one way or another. So, Fadumo, tell me sort of what led you to be interested in being a student school board member, and we went through an application process and an interview process, and what got you interested to begin with?
Well, the day that they had the informational meeting at Student Services, I was very curious. I didn't really know much about the school board. I knew that Malak and Sarah were on it, and I think that curiosity led me to go to Student Services, even though I was kind of nervous and I didn't really know what it was about, but I was very interested.
And then, you mentioned you want to go into the health field. Have you had an interest in serving on the school board as representing your student body and all of your colleagues and peers? Do you have an interest in public service in the future or government? Has that been something that's kind of been an attraction for you? Or?
Definitely. I've always been interested in government. I like to take rigorous courses like AP courses, which get you more involved in like Socratic things and talking about your opinions and stuff. So I think that's a good way to put it.
And the learning curve, I would imagine, being a student school board member and starting to get to know the school board and getting to know me is probably pretty steep right at the beginning. But what do you do as a student school board member? What are some of the things that you've done so far? And I know we've had some conversations about what we might be able to have you get involved in the future. But what have you done to this point? We're in February, obviously, so you served on the board for a while.
Well, responsibility of being a student school board representative is that you should attend as many meetings as you can and get to know what's going on. You have to, well, you don't have to, but it's nice to have a student report to fill out for the other school board members to know what you think is important or what's going on, and also to get involved in your school and other schools. For example, we've gone to Mr. Jones, our principal, for not issues, but comments about either backpacks or having a suggestion box, which Monica and I have done in the past week, which is a good improvement to know what the students would like to see.
Great way to get input from the students. You don't necessarily have enough time to meet with all of them, and schedules don't always mesh and whatever. How have you felt about the experience so far? Good, bad, or indifferent? I mean, have you enjoyed it? Or?
I have certainly enjoyed it. It's a good learning experience. It's good to know what's going on outside of the classroom. For example, what goes on, like what decisions, who makes the decisions, and what goes on for what reasons. So it's very good to know the people that are making those decisions.
And I think we have a really great school board. In fact, this week is School Board Recognition Week, and we're going to do some things for that. what are some of the things that you really enjoy about the experience in general? Do you enjoy the meetings, the preparation for them? Do you enjoy being able to represent your peers? What sorts of things do you really enjoy?
I think all of the above, representing people at school, coming to the meetings and seeing presentations. Even though a meeting might not have a presentation or someone presenting about either the activity director or anybody else, I think it's very interesting because I usually I'm not involved in any sports, so it was nice to see Mr. Remy come in and talk about that, or the English learner teachers. Yeah, that was very interesting too.
There are a lot of things, that's a
Yep.
great point. There are a lot of presentations and things that are discussed at the school board meetings that a lot of us aren't that familiar with, and I've really found those presentations to be helpful too. How about on the challenging aspect of things? What do you kind of scratch your head over sometimes and go, what is going on, or you know, what maybe don't you like or find a challenge about being on the school board as a student rep?
Nothing comes to mind, but there are times where I've kind of hesitated to say something about a topic because I feel like, it's not appropriate, but it's just silly or sometimes, but not all the time. But nothing's challenging.
Good. I mean, that's good to
Yeah.
hear. And I hope you know that I firmly believe that our school board very much respects
Of
both
course,
your
yeah.
opinion and Monica's, and at every opportunity that you can weigh in on something, I know that they really appreciate it. I touched on it a little bit earlier with Doug Goodman about how both of you had the opportunity to attend the Minnesota School Boards Association convention or conference
Yep.
in Minneapolis here in January, mid-January. What'd you think of that? What'd you learn, if anything?
I learned that during the exhibit, there were a bunch of businesses that correlate with schools, and I didn't know that a school had that many relations with other businesses, so it was nice to see like architect and design and all this fun stuff that goes into what a school needs.
And then you got to go to some breakout sessions in addition to the one that you guys served on the panel for, so hopefully you were able to pick some things up there
yeah.
for school board members.
Definitely.
Got to hang out with the board members and go out for dinner a few times and everything. And that's always I think that's always a really good professional development opportunity, not just for our school board members, but also our student school board members, just to learn more about kind of some of the challenges and issues in other districts, and also a lot of the things that are going well. And you touched on it, when you go into the convention center at that conference, there's, I think there's 9 different rows
Yeah.
of vendors, and they all are selling a product or a service that directly ties into what we do in education. Faduma, if somebody came up to you now as we get towards or closer to the end of the school year and said, you know, I'm kind of thinking about applying to be a student school board member next year, what would you tell them? What would you say?
I would tell them that they have to be responsible, not be afraid to tell their opinion, and to be willing to learn about what actually goes on in the school board, not even like the business side, the academic side, all parts of being on the school board. And it's a big responsibility, and it's an honor if you get picked.
Absolutely, and that's a good way to look at it,
Yep.
and I appreciate that you have that perspective. Is there anything from your point of view that you'd like to share with our audience, or just share in general, that you can think of maybe that we haven't touched on?
I'd just like to add that the Minnesota School Board Conference that we went to was a very good bonding moment. I've never actually felt, that was a good feeling to be able to spend time with you guys outside of the school board meetings, so, and that's it.
Well, and I know our board members really appreciate it, and I did, having the opportunity just to kind of hang out and visit and talk about different things, many of which were related to serving as a school board member, obviously, but it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and
Thank you.
look forward to the rest of the school year with you. Glad you're on our school board, and really happy that our board has offered this opportunity to students, and we look forward to continuing that in the future. So thanks for
Awesome.
doing the
Thank
interview
you.
with me today. I think that's it. Again, I'm Scott Munson, and this is Fadumo Ismail, student school board member. I'm the superintendent and marshal. Thanks for watching this show, and if you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to check out our website, which is www.marshall.k12.mn.us, or call our district office, which is 537-6924. Thank you, everybody.